Mr. Toscano, simple question. Are American communities safer when illegal immigrants who commit crimes are deported or when they remain in those communities? Are they safer when they're deported communities? Yes or no? Just yes or no?
Well, sir, that's not...
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Sir.
I'm asking the question.
And I'm trying to answer them.
No,
because you asked me a question that's outside of my purview.
Jim Jordan down there asked you questions. You're a human being. You're sitting next to a woman who lost her daughter. Can you tell me if illegal criminals are removed from the country if we're safer?
And to suggest that I don't care about what happens in my community.
This is my time.
I go to work every day trying to protect my community.
You are going to answer my questions. You don't show any discipline. When I'm asked questions, I answer them. So you're not willing to answer that question. Okay. So I ask you this question. Let's talk about Abdul Jalal. Yes or no, would Stephanie Minter be alive today if he had been deported? And you know why he wasn't deported? Because then, quite frankly, the administration was not as aggressive, and if a country didn't want to accept these awful people that came from the country, we didn't know where to send them, and we held them and we detained them. Now we're finding places to send them so that this doesn't go on. That's the answer. That's why that happened. It's not a mystery. It's not something weird or unusual. They didn't know where the heck to put it. Now we just do it, and we get it done. But nevertheless, would we be safer if he wasn't in the country then? Would we be safer, yes or no?
Sir,
yes or no, or to be safer if the man wasn't in the country? Damn it, answer my question.
Sir, I'm trying. You keep changing the question.
No, it's yes or no. There's a bad guy that murders people.
Certainly,
are we safer that he's not in the country?
If somebody is...
Nope, you can't answer the question. I'm sorry. I'll ask you this. Explain to the lady next to you. Abdul Jalal was charged in your county more than 40 times, not 4 times, 40 times. Your office dropped the charges in almost every single case. That's fact. We have it documented. We can look at it. Your own Fairfax County Police Department wrote your office, we have it, it's fact, May 2025, saying he had shown a, quote, blatant disregard for human life and was a danger to the community, and that if he wasn't detained and deported, he would seriously hurt someone or kill someone. The very man went out and then killed someone. Okay. So the question is, couldn't have we done better there?
Yeah, the gentleman's time has expired.
In the heart of Africa, a nation bleeds. Not from a single wound, but from 1,000 cuts, inflicted by a false union, never meant to endure. This is the story of Nigeria. A giant built on false foundations, now straining beneath the weight of its own contradictions. And at the center of that storm stands the unbroken spirit of Biafra, crying out for freedom from a nightmare that has consumed millions. It began with the rivers of blood in 1966. Thousands of Biafran men, women and children, professionals, traders, students and families who had built lives across the Federation became targets in the northern city, fueled by ethnic hatred and religious hostility. Mobs descended upon innocent civilians. They were slaughtered in their homes, in crowded markets, and aboard trains carrying desperate families back to the east. Streets were littered with bodies, rivers choked with corpses. Survivors returned to the east carrying trauma, grief, and the painful realization that they were no longer wanted in the Nigerian Union. Biafra, Biafra, voice of truth and freedom. Biafra, Biafra, the rising sun will rise again. Then came May 30th, 1967, a desperate act of survival. What followed were 30 months of unimaginable devastation. The Nigerian military armed and backed by foreign powers, including Britain, Russia and Egypt, surrounded the young republic. A total blockade was imposed. No food, no medicine, no escape. Starvation became a weapon of war. 5 million, mostly civilians, many of them children, perished during what was not just a conflict but genocide against Biafra. Bombs fell on markets, hospitals and villages. Communities were razed. The world watched in silence while famine hollowed the faces of innocent children. Some nations spoke out, but many turned away. The war officially ended in paper in 1970 under the declaration, no victor, no vanquished. Yet for Biafrans, the suffering did not end. Their properties were confiscated, careers destroyed. Biafrans were given only 20 pounds regardless of how much they had. Entire families struggled to rebuild shattered lives. The promise of reintegration faded into disappointment. Marginalization deepened in Nigerian government appointments. Infrastructure and control of resources from Biafran land. Oil flowing from the Biafra land enriched the center, while much of the east remained neglected. Roads deteriorated, industries collapsed. Biafra, Biafra. Voice of truth and freedom. The rising sun will rise again. The nightmare did not disappear, rather it evolved. Across Nigeria today, violence and insecurity continue to devastate communities. Armed attacks by Fulani herdsmen, terrorists, have left villages destroyed, farmers killed, women violated, children orphaned and churches burned. Boko Haram and its offshoots have unleashed terror across multiple regions in the southeast. Demands for Biafra and self-determination are often met with military crackdowns, arrests and bloodshed. Protesters have been killed, fear and tension continue to rise. These tragedies reflect the deadly consequences of forcing vastly different peoples into one political structure. Through the 1914 British amalgamation, distinct ethnic nations, religion, traditions, ideologies, and systems of governance were merged without consent and without a shared national vision. The North's feudal and religious conservatism can never blend with the South's entrepreneurial drive. And the East Republican individualism attempts to hold the Union together continue to be at the cost of innocent blood. Why does Biafra matter?
Biafra means self-determination.
Biafra represents dignity, survival, and the rights of a people to life and choose their future.
Biafra
symbolizes resistance, innovation, enterprise, and hope. The vision is of a nation with secure borders, focused development, protection of its citizens, and economic engagement with the world of future, free from oppression, fear, and perpetual conflict. The solution is not endless political conferences, military force or federal quota system, but a peaceful separation based on shared values and voluntary association. History shows that artificial unions often fracture violently, while honest separation can allow wounded nations to recover.
Biafra is not dead, Biafra lives.
It lives because the desire for freedom cannot be extinguished. Nigeria's ongoing crisis, corruption, insecurity, poverty, and division are proof that one structure cannot hold people with dangerous diversities together. For the million already lost, for the children yet unborn.
Biafra,
Biafra independence is non-negotiable. Let Africa remember that true unity cannot be sustained by force. The world must listen before more lives are lost.
Biafra,
Biafra lives, freedom calls. God bless Biafra.
Are we live?
Yes.
Greetings to everyone, and you're welcome to Politics Insight on Voice of Biafra Television once again. And with us in the studio today, we have Michael Rubin. And I will leave the stage to the Prime Minister and Michael Rubin to do the finishing. Dr. Michael
Thank you
Rubin,
very much,
welcome to
Minister of Information. It is a great honor to be here today with Dr. Michael Rubin, one of the most respected think tank official and foreign policy leader in Washington, D.C., and a great friend of Biafra and Biafra Republic government in exile. He is more his impressive biography. Here is more of his impressive biography. Michael Rubin is a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, where he specialized in Iran, Turkey, and the broader Middle East. A former Pentagon official, Dr. Rubin has lived in post-revolution Iran, Yemen, and both pre- and post-war Iraq. He also spent time with the Taliban before 9/11. For more than a decade, he taught classes at sea about the Horn of Africa and Middle East conflict, culture and terrorism. To deploy U.S. Navy and Marine units, Dr. Rubin is the author, co-author, and co-editor of several books exploring diplomacy, Iranian history, Arab culture, Kurdish studies, and Shiite politics, including several pillars. What really causes instability in the Middle East? AEI, Press 2019, Kurdistan's Rising, AEI, Press 216, Dancing with the Devil, The Perils of Engaging Rogue Regimes, Encounter Books, 2014, and Internal Iran Continuity and Chaos. Paragraph 2005, Dr. Rubin has a PhD and MA in history from Yale University, where he also obtained a BS in biology. Thank you, Dr. Rubin. The question we have a lot of questions, but because of time, we just take as much as we can. The Biafra Republic government in exile has focused on promoting the U.S. recognition of Christian genocide in Nigeria and had aggressively engaged the U.S. government for such recognition in parallel with other advocacy such as the U.S. Christian community and organization. This has been successful with President Trump declaring Christian genocide in Nigeria. From our perspective, this allows for normalization or discussion of the concept of an independent Christian state in the form of Biafra. Doctor, what are your thoughts about President Trump and the White House declaration about Christian genocide on Nigeria and steps taken to hold Nigerian government accountable? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister. It's a pleasure to be here speaking with you. First of all, I'm glad that President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have calibrated U.S. policy towards reality rather than wishful thinking, like what we saw with the previous administration when Nigeria was taken off the watch list by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. And frankly, the facts on the ground tell the story much more important than any U.S. administration. And so I would hope, Democrat or Republican, whoever follows President Trump, would also continue to recognize the real slaughter of Christians that is occurring in Biafra. The way I look at it is this way. There are two possibilities. Number one, either the Nigerian government is directly and purposely slaughtering the Christians in Biafra. The second possibility is the Nigerian government is too weak to prevent the slaughter of Christians in Biafra. Either way, however, the fact remains that there is an ongoing genocide. If the Nigerian government is purposely and directly seeking genocide against Biafra, then the United States must recognize Biafra to help protect it. And if the Nigerian government is a failed state and too weak to prevent the actions of the Fulani militias, then the United States should stop recognizing the fiction of Nigeria and recognize the independence of Biafra. In reality, Nigeria is a colonial empire. It's an artificial state, and it's a failed state. The fact of the matter is, it's time to continue the full decolonization of Western Africa, and that means allowing Biafra, Ambazonia to be free.
Thank you very much, Doctor. What are your thoughts on the interconnection between the Nigerian Christian persecution issue and how it ties in with Biafran aspiration?
Well, look, Biafra didn't simply form a few years ago. It's not simply the product of a diaspora community meeting in Finland. The fact of the matter is, Biafra has always existed, and we can go back to the 18th century, if not before, and we find evidence of Biafra and recognition of Biafra on European maps and elsewhere. But certainly, Biafra showed its desire back in 1967, and unfortunately, for cynical reasons relating to the Cold War, for cynical reasons relating to Nigeria and its economy, we have a situation in which Nigeria was quite literally allowed to get away with murder, allowed to get away with genocide. One of the problems that we see when we fail to recognize genocide when it occurs, when we fail to delegitimize the ideology that leads to that genocide, is it ensures a repetition of that genocide. After World War II, the German Nazi Party was stigmatized, and the Germans were forced to come to account with what they did. The problem we have in Nigeria is that too many countries have given Nigeria an excuse not to recognize its own responsibility for the first genocide in Biafra. And because of that, the ideology has continued and it has amplified to the point where we now have the second genocide in Biafra. The moral compromise of people like the president of Finland is shameful. The moral compromise of Anthony Blinken when he was Secretary of State was shameful, especially because he used his own father-in-law's experience in the Holocaust as part of his claim to moral standing when he became Secretary of State. The fact of the matter is, there will not be peace in Nigeria until Biafra is free. And it is unfair for everyone in Biafra to have to suffer through a second Nigerian genocide, a second Biafra genocide at the hands of the Nigerian government, simply because diplomats want to be polite and want to make their oil deals and their other trade deals. The Christians of Nigeria should not be sacrificed so that some Europeans can make a quick contract.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm so encouraged with your words, your expertise, and your knowledge. I hope people are listening and learning from the expert and for who care for humanity. Thank you. The Biafra Republic government in Criple Brgie heavily invests in time and energy and in high-level engagement in Washington, D.C. While the New Biafra movement has existed since the late 90s, a professional engagement campaign led by Brgie in Washington, D.C. is a very recent phenomenon, being less than 2 years old. Due to this change in strategy, in some ways, we have more sources in the past 2 years than the previous 20. We have two questions relating to this. Can you explain to the Biafran people why educating U.S. officials on the Biafra issue is critical?
Well, first of all, what you say is absolutely true. I personally, of course, am not Biafran, and so I'm not going to comment on internal Biafran politics. What I would say, however, is that whatever one's political belief as a Biafran, the most important thing is education of people outside Biafra, of people outside Nigeria, to understand the Biafran cause. And there's absolutely no doubt that great progress has been made over the last 2 or 3 years on the issue. Now, there's been two issues or two dynamics that have allowed to this success. The first is the lobbying campaign that the Biafran community in exile has undertaken in Washington. You have made people aware. You don't need to spin. You don't need to create facts. All you need to do is educate. Because unfortunately, the Nigerian government is creating the facts with its own perpetuation of genocide in Biafra. Frankly, however, the Biafran community has also become lucky in Washington simply because of the sheer incompetence of the Nigerian embassy. The fact of the matter is, there is not an embassy more lazy in Washington, D.C. than the Nigerian embassy. Even when I talk to State Department officials who do not necessarily agree with the idea of an independent Biafran state, they will acknowledge that the reason why the Biafran cause has sunk such deep roots now in Washington, D.C. is not only because of the lobbying efforts, but also because the Nigerian government has not managed to contradict or explain any of the assertions made by the Biafran community or its own Nigerian actions. So the fact of the matter is, you have had great success. And the reason why this is important is because genocide happens in the dark. When you shine a light on the slaughter of Christians in villages and towns in Biafra, then their deaths are not in vain. There is accountability. We can look at any number of episodes. Kosovo in 1999 with Bill Clinton, or more recently, the military action in Iran. And we can recognize the importance of understanding how the slaughter of a country's own people led to intervention. And so, in the case of Nigeria, while no one is talking about intervention right now, the fact of the matter is people are talking about sanctions against Nigeria. And frankly, the Biafran case for independence is going to become even more important as an element of U.S. national security, as a U.S. interest. If the government in Mali falls, then we are going to refocus on the problem of jihadism, of Al-Qaeda, of Islamic extremism, of the Islamic State in West Africa. And while, of course, Mali and Nigeria do not share a direct border, the fact of the matter is that if Mali becomes a safe haven for Al Qaeda, Nigeria is going to be its target. And if the Nigerian government is as incompetent and as permeated by Islamists as we've seen over the last several years, then the United States, not for reasons directly of religious freedom, but for reasons of stability and security in West Africa, will have absolutely no reason, no choice, but to recognize the state of Biafra as an independent country.
Wow. Thank you very much. And the Nigerian terrorist government, they always make our job easier for us. The Biafra Republic government in exile has a transactional approach in engaging the U.S. government, making a beneficial offers in the areas of defense, security, and natural resources in exchange for U.S. political support, similar to what Somaliland is doing. What are your thoughts on this approach?
Well, look, when it comes to the aspirations of Biafra, just like when it comes to the aspirations of Somaliland, another country which had suffered genocide, in this case at the hands of dictator Siad Barre, who, by the way, after he was overthrown, was granted asylum by the government of Nigeria, a fellow genocidaire government. The fact of the matter is, Biafra and its lobby should make any number of arguments because different policymakers in Washington will be motivated by different ideas. There's not a magic formula. Personally, the morality of the Biafran cause matters to me. To the evangelical Christian community, solidarity matters, the protection of Christians. But you're absolutely right, Mr. Prime Minister. And Biafra has a lot to offer. And the point is that Biafra needs to do what is in Biafran interests. It needs to have a symbiotic relationship with the United States. And if that means a military base for the strategic Gulf of Guinea, if that means energy deals with American companies, that's fine. The fact of the matter is, we should be supporting you for practical, realpolitik reasons. We should be supporting you for moral reasons. We should be supporting you for security reasons. All of them go together in a way that is beneficial to both countries.
Thank you very much, Doctor. As a follow-up to the previous question, Brgie have offered the U.S. military base in Biafran territory, which would provide the U.S. valuable access to the Gulf of Guinea, which we know is very, very important. We believe this is valuable, given increased terrorism in West Africa and the loss of U.S. presence in the Sahel. This idea of having U.S. military base in Biafra has been spoken about by foreign policy experts in Washington, D.C. What do you think of this idea?
I think it's a very good idea. Realistically, the United States isn't going to establish a military base before much more formal recognition of Biafran autonomy, if not independence. That said, I would add to your litany of reasons why this is important that the Gulf of Guinea is now the international hub of piracy. And therefore, it becomes extremely important to the security, to the freedom of navigation, to the energy flow. Now, technically speaking, when it comes to maritime law, piracy is an act that occurs 12 miles outside of a country's borders, once it's outside on the high seas, outside of its territorial waters. What Nigeria has done is categorize many of the acts of piracy as occurring inside its territorial waters in order to depress the statistics. But the fact of the matter is, Nigeria, number one, is dishonest with regard to its security. it's become a major source of instability in the region. And at the same time, Biafra has the resources which Nigeria wants to loot. The dynamic which the United States has to be very careful about is this. We've seen, for example, in both Pakistan and to a lesser extent Egypt, governments demanding that the United States assist them with defeating extremists. And in a way, it's a dynamic of extortion. Pakistan supports the Taliban, for example, and then demands that the United States gives it security assistance to defeat the Taliban. But it's never going to defeat the Taliban because it wants the billions of dollars in American security assistance. What the Nigerian government wants to do is similar. It wants to, on one hand, promote and catalyze the Fulani militias and other Islamist extremists in the Middle Belt, in the North, and in Biafra. And it will say, you need to give us millions, billions of dollars for our military in order to defeat this threat. But it's like the arsonists saying, you need to give us millions of dollars, billions of dollars to put out a wildfire without admitting that they themselves started it. So what the United States needs to do, military base or not, is to call the bluff, the cynicism of Abuja. It needs to tell the Nigerians, we know what your game plan is, and we reject it. And the fact of the matter is, you have become a terror sponsor. You should be designated a state sponsor of terrorism. And we have concluded that the only way to protect the security and stability, as well as the Christian community, is to recognize Biafra.
Thank you very much, Doctor. For years, the Nigerian government has used terrorism in the country as an excuse to ask for arms sale to Nigeria, instead of using the weapon to fight Boko Haram. Either the Nigerian government will use the weapon to engage in military action against the Biafrans, or provide those weapons to so-called reintegrated terrorists. Now, there is a shift towards direct U.S. counter-terrorism action in Nigeria, perhaps reflecting concern about the Nigerian military intention. What are your thoughts regarding arms sales to Nigeria? Should they be blocked, or at least conditions attack that U.S. arms cannot be used against the Biafrans and Christian population?
Well, look, at a minimum, they need to be conditioned. The fact of the matter is, however, that the Nigerian government probably wouldn't adhere to those conditions. Look, I mean, when push comes to shove, the Nigerian government needs to be held accountable for its own actions. And the Nigerian army has been shown not to be a reliable security force. What I would do is challenge the Nigerian government. I would demand that any weapon sales be preconditioned on the arrest, the trial, and the conviction of any Nigerian officer, any Nigerian soldier who has participated in human rights violations against the people of Biafra. And if the Nigerian government isn't serious enough about rooting out the corruption and the terrorism within its own armed forces, then Mr. Prime Minister, under no circumstances should they get a single weapon or salary assistance to their military, because it's clear that they're insincere and they're playing a double game.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Can the Biafra military force, the Biafra Defense Force, Biafra Liberation Army be an alternative for U.S. in the area to the Nigerian military, similar to how the Kudus have been helpful? to the U.S. in the Middle East. Should the U.S. military train and professionalize the Biafran force into a professional counter-terrorism force? We have proposed this to U.S. government for consideration.
I would say that that is a good aspiration for the future. Realistically, until the United States recognizes the autonomy of Biafra, it's unlikely that you're going to get U.S. trainers descending into Biafra the way they have in Iraqi Kurdistan or more recently in Somaliland. But you're absolutely right. Biafra should have the ability to defend itself to the best of its ability, especially if its neighbor cannot be trusted and indeed is the main threat to its security.
Thank you very much, Doctor. The government of Nigeria has relationship with U.S. adversaries, including the Islamic Republic of Iran. In fact, Nigeria at one point brought Iranian officials into the parts of Biafra which remained under government control last year. Nigeria is also trying to bring a Turkish military presence into the country. This is unacceptable to the Biafra Republic government in exile. We are eager to work with the U.S. to counter this malign influence. Should the U.S. also view supporting Biafra as combating malign foreign influences, such as from Iran?
Yes, although, frankly, I see Turkey as a much greater threat right now. Turkey entered, for example, Somalia with the argument that it was going to bring peace and security to Somalia. But what Turkey did was empower al-Shabaab to the point where you cannot even go from the Turkish-controlled green zone at Mogadishu's international airport to the Villa Somalia, just a couple kilometers away, because al-Shabaab controls the territory in between. If Turkish forces, if Turkish advisors enter Nigeria, they are not going to bring peace and security. They are going to empower Boko Haram. Their weaponry is going to end up with Boko Haram, and they are going to catalyze the slaughter of the Christians in Biafra. If Turkey cannot even acknowledge the Armenian genocide, how can you trust them with the lives of the Christians in Biafra?
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I believe that every finger is pointed to Nigerian government or as a regime, as Iranian regime. So Nigeria is Iranian part 2. So they share the same ideology. So or supporting the Nigerian military is actually supporting terrorism against the Biafran Christians and even the Nigerian Christians. Thank you very much. In addition to the United States, which sovereign state do you think Biafra should cultivate relationship with? For example, Biafra has a historical relationship with Israel, and Israel is currently a natural ally for us.
Look, ultimately, who recognizes Biafra and who Biafra recognizes is an issue of strategy. Certainly, Israel makes sense, but look, the fact of the matter is, African countries should support the Biafran cause as well, because Nigeria is simply a colonial empire under the guise of being an independent African state. The fact of the matter is, the way Nigeria has acted disqualifies it from the full recognition of the African Union and all of the member states. If I were Biafran, I would look at other states in the region that perhaps have reason to understand the threat which Biafra has been under. Somaliland as a victim of genocide. The Namibians were also victims of genocide. in the future, one might look at countries that have had difficulties between sectarian communities, like the Central African republics. And who knows, maybe in the future, big heavyweights in the region, like Ethiopia or South Africa, will understand that their future and their interest lies with the creation of Biafra rather than tying themselves to a country like Nigeria. The way I think about Nigeria is this. It's almost as if someone breaks into a fancy automobile and instead of stealing the sound system on the automobile, takes the dead carcass of a cat from the back seat. Nigeria today is like that dead carcass of a cat. And no one wants to have to rely on it. I mean, Biafra is the country of the future.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Are there other independence movement or non-state actors you think Biafra should have relationship with? We have contact with the Ambazonia. Somaliland is being pointed out as a successful example.
Well, I mean, certainly Somaliland is successful. And the reason Somaliland is successful is, like Biafra, it has a clear history and clear borders. And it also has a national unity that is born from the trauma of the initial genocide. And Ambazonia makes sense as well, simply because, look, Ambazonia should be independent. Cameroon had its opportunity, and it failed in its compact, much like Mogadishu, Somalia, failed to uphold its contract. And when you fail to uphold your contract, the contract is violated, and then you can go in the other direction. So when it comes to Ambazonia, I mean, absolutely, they have every right to be independent, and frankly, their national history is going to be tied to Biafra's and vice versa, and it makes sense if both countries support each other as they struggle for independence. I mean, it's the English expression, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I know your time is limited. I wish we can have you all day here because your words, is whoever don't learn from what you're saying and especially your experience on this very particular field, you're actually saying everything with facts. And that's exactly what is happening because in the world we live today, people are shy away from speaking the truth, saying the way it is. Thank you, Doctor. Biafrans and people around the world are closely monitoring the war in Iran. You have written extensively about the Iranian democratic opposition, including Reza Pahlavi. What lesson do you think the Biafrans can learn from the successes and missteps of the Iranian opposition, both of which you have wrote about?
Okay. I've criticized Reza Pahlavi, a man who I've known for almost 30 years, because, number one, the disorganization of his office. If you cannot organize your own office, how do you expect to organize a country? That's point number one. Point number two is I believe that Reza Pahlavi, or at least many of his aides, became a little bit too comfortable in exile. I've compared them to the White Russians from the time of the Bolshevik Revolution, where many of the exiles would talk about revolution, talk about returning, but really they wanted to attend the cocktail parties and the social scene in European capitals. I don't see the same mistake occurring with the Biafrans. I see the Biafrans as much more willing to sacrifice for their own country. And we see that because so many Biafrans are fighting. I mean, not just with words, not just with television cameras, but also literally fighting for their own survival right now. And so ultimately, I see a cohesiveness within the Biafran diaspora. The only warning I would have, again, is the only message which the American audience should hear, which the European audience should hear, is about the justness of the Biafran cause. If there are disputes politically within the Biafran diaspora, those should be handled internally. And ultimately, those will be decided when there is a referendum or elections in an independent Biafra. But it's not the job of any Biafran official to complain about any other Biafran official. And one of the reasons that I believe that the Biafran movement has been successful so far, again, is because the Biafrans have been keeping their focus, at least to the American audience, on the broader principles. Too many people among Reza Pahlavi in Iran have started attacking other opposition figures without understanding that the only adversary which they should be targeting is the Islamic Republic of Iran and its murderous regime. And so in this, I commend the wisdom of the Biafran diaspora for recognizing that the principle has to come above the politics.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I know we have thrown a lot of questions on you. In conclusion, do you have a final message to Biafra people? And Biafran people love you so much. You have been in their midst several times, and they appreciate you being on VOB on Politics Insight today. What is the final message you have for Biafran people? Thank you.
Look, my final message is this. Every dictator wakes up, every Democrat wakes up knowing when his term in office is going to end. Every dictator wakes up knowing that today will be his last. Over the years, I've had the ability to interview people. Lech Walesa in Poland, for example. People in Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein, and others. And what they say is, we fought and we fought and we fought. And sometimes it seemed hopeless. But then when the change happened, it happened much faster than anyone expected it would. And I suspect the same thing is going to happen with regard to Nigeria and the collapse of Nigeria. It may seem far off, and diplomats, American diplomats, European diplomats, may seem to almost with tunnel vision just support the status quo. But as Nigeria collapses, it will be amazing how quickly things change. And so it behooves the Biafran community not only to advocate for their cause, but to plan for the day after. So when the Republic of Biafra is internationally recognized, it can start its operation right away. Its ministries, its economic philosophy, its legal code will all be prepared so that Biafra and the Republic of Biafra will be successful. And in that, I have no doubt that you will. The human capital, the intelligence, the lived experience of the Biafrans put them in a category much closer to Somaliland than to a country like South Sudan, which failed almost as soon as it began. And so I commend everything the Biafran community is doing in order to preserve its national rights and in order to protect the livelihood of the Christians who are now undergoing an ongoing tragedy.
Thank you very much, Michael, Senior Fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. We really appreciate you, and we are honored to have you in VOB. I know this what we went through before the interview. We have some difficulty at the time, and we appreciate your patience. We love you very much. Keep doing the good work to save the minority, also Christians that have been persecuted, even non-Christian. God will reward you. Humanity love you. On behalf of the Biafran people, I'm saying a very big thank you. And the
Thank
global
you.
community that know what you are doing, they love you very much because we know you are doing this from the bottom of your heart. And we have heard all you said, and we believe that those viewers that are listening and U.S. government, they know the right thing to do because Iran of Africa is Nigeria. And if Nigeria is not disintegrated after taking down the terrorists over the Sahel without, on the Middle East, without dealing with Nigeria terrorists, because Nigeria have been a safe haven for the terrorists. Even they have Hezbollah in Nigeria, over 22 terrorist groups. So after Iran, we believe Nigeria should be next, and Biafran people should be free, and every minority in that region deserves to also get their freedom. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And I also want to let Biafrans know that Marco here, Michael Rubin here, acknowledged the success of Biafra Republic government in Washington, of which we have been spreading the gospel, educating U.S. officials, because some Biafrans are not aware of this. And thank God that you yourself, you acknowledge it, that the work of our lobby, taking us to Washington, D.C. is paying off. Thank you very much, Marco. Honorable Minister of Information, please, before we let Michael Rubin go, we have, we run out of time already. So just go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Michael Rubin, and we appreciate you so much. The Biafran people love you from the bottom of our heart. But there is something that is bothering us, the Biafran people. How is it possible that you predict the future?
Well, we
From
don't
politics.
predict the future. You need to work for the future. And that's what gives me such hope when I see the Biafrans work to that common goal.
Wow, thank you very much. In 2025, you said after Mali, Nigeria fall is the next. And today what you said has come to pass. That is why I asked the first question. How do you do it? The same way you had written and predicted about Iraq, Iran, and many other countries and many other nations, most especially every conquest agenda team that has to come to Islamize the entire nation. You're always on it. Michael, what is the secret of how you go about getting these facts aligned that they come to pass the right way?
There is no secret. Look, I'm not a diplomat. I put diplomacy aside. Foreign policy needs to be based on reality and not wishful thinking. And when it comes to, and certainly not greed and commercial contracts. So when it comes to Alexander Stubb, it's clear that he's motivated by commercial contracts. When it comes to Anthony Blinken, there was too much wishful thinking. All one needs to do is look at what's happening on the ground in a country like Mali or in a country like Nigeria, and then that's the only thing which you should base your analysis on, even if it makes people, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it makes officials in Abuja uncomfortable. You only need to work in the realm of reality, and that's what I try to do.
Thank you, Michael. I did ask one very important question to our previous guest, and I'll also throw it to you. Is it advisable to reintegrate Boko Haram terrorists or Islamic jihadist terrorists into the military formation, because this is what Nigerian government are doing?
No, it's not wise. It would be self-defeating, and ultimately it would be laundering terrorists. Those who are in Boko Haram should be held accountable for any violence which they perpetrated, and those who were kidnapped into Boko Haram or who may not have been directly involved in violence should be rehabilitated, but not under arms in the military. And countries like Rwanda and countries like Morocco both have experience in how to accomplish this. The one thing one should not do is put them in the military when they have been indoctrinated into the ideology and into the extremism of Boko Haram.
Thank you, Michael. I leave it there because of time, and we are so happy to have had you on the show.
Thank you.
Prime Minister, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. Really appreciate, and hopefully in near future, we have you on VOB again, where we might you might have more time, because your word and your insight, your knowledge is encouraging, it's uplifting.
Can you hear the cry from the broken land, from the wounded hearts? Nigeria, they bleed, people they cry, tears for the ground, nobody asks why. Over 7,000 souls don't fall every single day, we still there call.
Churches burning, hope fading fast. Since 2009, the pain don't last. 50,000, maybe more. Heaven they count every single soul.
Children without home tonight, mothers praying through the night, fathers lost no strength to fight. Who go stand for what is right?
Oh, stand for love, stand for life. Be the answer in this time. You can have to wipe their tears, you can calm their fears. Give a hand, don't turn away. Be the light in darkest day. Every little you provide keeps a soul alive.
Millions roaming, nowhere to stay. No clean water, no food today. Kidnapped voices crying in chains, silent echoes filled with pain. 19,000 churches gone, but faith still rising.
Holding on,
In the ashes, hope remains. Love can heal the deepest pains.
shelter broken, dreams erased. Hungry hearts we can embrace. Let compassion take its place. Now's the time to show His grace. Stand for love, stand for life. Be the answer in this time. You can help to wipe their tears. You can calm their fears. Give a hand, don't turn away. Be the light in darkest day. Every little you provide keeps a soul alive.
Food, water, shelter, hope. You can be the miracle they pray for. You can change a life today. No matter how small it seems, your love can rebuild their dreams. Together we can make a way. Keeps us all alive. Oh, no. From every village, every city, from homeland to diaspora. Hope is rising again. Biafra now our only hope.
Biafra now our only hope.
Hope for today, hope for tomorrow. No more pain, no more sorrow. Ha! We bring better news, make your head on clear. We get hope, now Biafra we dey see am. Beautiful nation, shining bright justice and fairness. Now the light.
Biafra go be one beautiful nation.
Every Biafran go enjoy true freedom. Fine, fine country, shining nation. Justice and fairness. Justice and fairness. Everybody equal, one law for rich and poor. Leader or citizen, no different, justice go speak with confidence.
No oppression,
no discrimination, rule of law for the nation. Truth and justice go reign forever.
Biafra go get strong and better.
Where your home?
Biafra,
who be your home?
Biafra,
waiting be your country.
Biafra.
No more suffering and smiling, no more fear, no more hiding. Respect and dignity for all. Every citizen standing tall. Free education, rich university, healthcare for every community.
No more dying,
because no money.
Life go better for everybody.
Biafra now our only hope.
Biafra now our only hope.
Stand up now, make we claim our
Biafra now our destination.
Women go deliver safe for hospital. Citizen go get support every month. Better roads go connect every city. Modern railways and airport.
Clean water go flow for house.
Electric light go shine every night. Security go protect every family.
Day and night.
Everything go right. You fit waka free for midnight. Go your road without fear. Kidnapping and violence disappear. Peace and progress everywhere. Mama and papa go get retirement benefits. Nobody go kill you for Biafra and go free. Now wahala, the person don't buy for him head. Oil and gas beneath our ground. Now the people will get the land, go control them. Resources go serve the people. Prosperity go spread for all. Anything we do for our land. Now our citizens go manage them. Development go reach every corner. Nobody go suffer again.
No vote buying,
no rigging game. Election fair and play. One woman, one vote.
One man, one vote.
Your voice go matter every day.
Biafra now our only hope. Biafra now our only hope.
Hope for today.
Hope for tomorrow.
No more pain, no more sorrow.
Biafra now our only hope. Biafra now our only hope.
Hope for today.
Hope for
Hope for tomorrow. No more pain, no more sorrow. Biafra.
our home.
Our country,
Our future.
our future. Biafra now our only hope. No.
Great people of Biafra. This is the voice of Biafra. The voice that cannot be silenced. The voice of truth, resilience, and freedom. Speaking to you in the spirit of courage and in the language of liberation. Nigeria government has lost control over insecurity. Fellow listeners, What was once whispered in fear, what was once denied in arrogance, has now become a reality too loud to ignore. A nation staggering under the weight of its own contradictions is rapidly losing control over insecurity. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, the land trembles, not from natural disaster, but from man-made chaos. Communities abandoned, villages raided under the cover of darkness, highways turned into corridors of fear. Citizens left to fend for themselves. In a country where the government once promised protection, the question now echoes across the land. Where is the government? Where are the security forces? Where is the accountability? In recent times, markets have become targets. Travelers have become victims. Families have become statistics. And yet, those in power continue to speak in rehearsed tone. Detached from the suffering of the people, observers say, this is no longer a matter of isolated incidents. This is systemic failure. A collapse of responsibility. A nation where innocent lives are wasted daily. As fear grips the population, a new reality emerges. The people have lost confidence. Trust has been eroded. Hope has faded. But here, on this frequency, we do not deal in fear. We deal in truth. And the truth is this: a government that cannot protect its people has failed its most sacred duty to the people. Listen. Remain vigilant. Remain aware. Remain strong. Nigeria has failed its citizens, and in awareness lies survival. This is a wake-up call. You are listening to the voice of Biafra, where truth lives and freedom speaks. Biafrans stand firm until justice speaks louder than silence. And stay safe. God bless Biafra Republic. God bless Biafra Republic government in exile.
Justice go reign forever.
Biafra go dey strong and better.
Where your home?
Biafra,
Who be your home?
Biafra,
Waiting be your country.
Biafra.
No more suffering and smiling. No more fear, no more hiding. Respect and dignity for all. Every citizen standing tall. Free education, rich university, healthcare for every community.
No more dying,
because no money.
life go better for everybody.
Biafra now our only hope.
Biafra now our only hope.
Stand up now, make we claim our
Biafra now our destination.
women go deliver safe for hospital. Citizen go get support every month. Better roads go connect every city. Modern railways and airport.
Clean water go flow for houses.
Electric light go shine every night. Security go protect every family.
Day and night.
Everything go right. You fit waka free for midnight. Go your road without fear. Kidnapping and violence disappear. Peace and progress everywhere. Mama and Papa go get retirement benefits. Nobody go kill you for Biafra and go free. Now wahala, the person don't buy for him head. Oil and gas beneath our ground. Now the people will get the land, go control them. Resources go serve the people. Prosperity go spread for all. Anything we do for our land. Now our citizens go manage them. Development go reach every corner. Nobody go suffer again.
No vote buying,
No rigging game. Election fair and play. One woman one vote. One man, one vote. Your voice go matter every day.
Biafra now our only hope. Biafra now our only hope.
Hope for today.
Hope for tomorrow.
No more pain, no more sorrow.
Biafra now our only hope. Biafra now our only hope.
Hope for today. Hope for tomorrow. No more pain, no more sorrow. Biafra. Our country, our future. Biafra now our only hope. No.
Greeting, fellow Biafrans and our allies and viewers all over the world. Good afternoon from here. With me, I have our lobbyist, Elias, Washington, and Madison. So he's going to give us a brief update of our activity lately in Washington, D.C., and we might have some few minutes for interruption. Then after that, we call it a day. And I also want to remind Biafra that this is Voice of Biafra, because for so long our voice have been silenced, and it's time we tell our story and the reason why we are fighting to leave the country called Nigeria, because it's a terrorist country. And tomorrow also we'll be having our guest, Ambassador Tribunage. Please don't miss it tomorrow. We call Elias Mazi Elias. Mazi Elias, welcome to VOB. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, Your Excellency. It's an honor to be here on Voice of Biafra. This is quite an honor, and I'm glad to be here as you inaugurate this new program, which will spread the Biafran message across Biafra and West Africa. We're just here today to, as was said in the flyer, to provide an update here from Washington, D.C., to have an organic discussion and touch base with our wonderful viewers and listeners. Prime Minister, as you know, and you've been coming to Washington, D.C. with me on a very frequent basis. We're making very significant breakthroughs in the relationship between Biafra and the United States, and we're now at the beginning stages of what is an unofficial relationship between Brgie and the U.S. government, which is growing significantly and which will eventually become an official relationship when Biafra is a recognized independent nation state. The things that we're discussing with the U.S. government are unbelievable. I think, as you know, some of the things that are being considered would not have even been thought of even just 1 year ago. To quote one of the influential officials here in Washington, D.C., the U.S. government views Biafra as very important and will be of increasing importance. And the U.S. government is going to consider things that is not previously considered because of both the promise that Brgie has provided as well as the failures of the Nigerian government. One thing I want to relay to our viewers is that they should feel very hopeful that Biafra is going from a dream into reality, but they also need to understand, given the nature of what Biafra is, given the nature of the sensitivities involved, a lot of our cooperation or progress with the U.S. government will be done so in a discreet manner, because Biafra is in the process of seeking its independence from Nigeria. It is what you would call a non-state actor. The U.S. Government tends to be a little bit more discreet in terms of disclosure of its activities with non-state actors versus its official relations with foreign governments. So the reason why I wanted to mention this is, for example, some of our very enthusiastic Brgie fans and Biafran fans. Sometimes I see some of our supporters on social media and Twitter saying, "Oh, when's the U.S. going to hurry up? When's the U.S. going to support the Biafran Liberation Army or do certain things?" And what I would say to Biafrans is, how would you know, if the U.S. is not already doing those things? The thing is, when the U.S. works with non-state actors, they typically do not disclose the nature of the relationship, and that's not something we would disclose unless the U.S. government authorizes that. So for example, when the U.S. government worked with various Syrian rebel groups, for example, to effectuate democratic transition in Syria, that program was a secret program for a number of years before it was made public information. So Biafrans should be assured that things are happening, but they also need to understand that there will be aspects of the progress and of the relationship that we have with the U.S. government that will be what we call covert in nature and not overt in nature. So I think many people will be astonished by the progress we're making, by the things that are being considered. And over time, I think certain things may be made public when the time is appropriate. But we are trying to bring Biafrans along by publicizing the aspects of what we do that we can. For example, photos of meetings, with U.S. officials. And we saw the prime minister had that very nice photo of him posted by a very senior Trump administration official, Leo Terrell. And he had a very, there was a nice photo of the two of them that the Honorable Mr. Terrell posted. So we will be publishing our meetings, but the discussions that we have, the sensitive programs that are being considered are not things we'll be discussing publicly, not at least, until our counterparts in the U.S. government think it's appropriate to publicize certain activities. So I just want to tell Biafrans that if they know what me and the Prime Minister know, I think they'll be very excited, and we will continue to carry everyone along to the extent we can by publicizing certain meetings and certain activities. And I think that's what's distinguished the Biafra Public Government Exile, is that when we have meetings that we can publish, we publish those meetings. And so the Biafrans have a sense of the activities that we're doing. And there's a fine line between discretion and transparency, because, we want to show that the Biafra government wants to show that it's doing the work. At the same time, the Biafra government wants to protect confidentiality. And so it has to thread that needle in the middle of both demonstrating accomplishments while at the same time protecting sensitive discussions. And I think the Biafra government is doing a good job of balancing that. So I want to say that this is a great honor to be here. I think the progress we're making, to be honest, is even much faster than I had anticipated. And my message to Biafrans too is you have to stay focused. You have to be serious. and focus on the goal and not get sidetracked with drama or nonsense. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to you, distinguished Prime Minister. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elias. It's like every other day, we do have the opportunity to meet because just like for the past few weeks, it's a lot of meeting,
Yes.
meeting, and we actually have to travel outside the metropolitan area, which is Washington D.C. area. We travel far away from Washington D.C. So all for Biafra. We just want to encourage Biafrans to be hopeful that our freedom, is here. And you touch light on something I really want to ask you that if somebody have even whisper on your ear 2 years ago that what we have achieved and where we've been today, that we're going to achieve this milestone, what will you say?
Oh, people have admitted to me privately, they're shocked about what we're doing. 2 years ago, what we're doing, the accomplishments we have, what the U.S. government's considering, people, if you asked someone 2 years ago, they would have told you, oh, you're completely crazy. So it's amazing what we've achieved. The environment is completely different than 2 years ago, even from a year ago. So things are very quickly shifting in our favor. And as you know, Prime Minister, certain individuals who didn't even consider Biafra now seriously considering Biafra, people who thought that, oh, this is completely unrealistic, all of a sudden they want to come on board. So it's been a very big shift, even within the past 6 months, I would say. Even it's like on a monthly basis, it's now shifting in our favor.
Yeah, just like Ambassador, that will be at the VOB tomorrow. 2 years ago, if you have asked him to come to Voice of Biafra, the name Biafra, they were like, what? Because Washington, D.C., have not really know much about what is happening in Nigeria and how bad Nigeria situation is. So the Biafra Republic government in exile, we actually do a lot of work, lecturing, talking. Like our last meeting, if you recall, we spent almost 2 hours, right? Elias, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, talking, and now Washington ear is wide open. They want to listen. And the good thing about it is that most members of Congress, they are willing to be part of this. They want to be involved because, it's disturbing seeing what is happening from Nigeria, how they are killing, hanging people, beheading people, burning people alive. It's disturbing. Even our last meeting, I recall asking this member, they want me to show him some horrible. So I'm glad that Washington D.C. Now start talking about Biafra. And the last hearing of which Senator Ted Cruz just a few days ago, he was there, and Dr. Wale was there. Even Mike Anoy, you see them, like somebody like Mike Anoy, just few months ago, even few weeks ago, when you talk about Biafra separated from Nigeria, he will tell you, no. So we can hear him say that, it's time to divide Nigeria. It's an option now. It's no two ways about it. And we also hear from former President Trump advisor, Dr. Wale, also talk about Biafra. So Biafra must be free, and we are glad that people in Washington, congressmen and women, are now reasoning with the Biafran people, because this truth is out there. It's no longer hidden. You can just tell that even after the president of the free world warned Nigerian government to make sure that they secure, the life of innocent citizens, whether Biafra or Nigeria. what it still end up massacre after massacre, killing after killing. So Washington don't want to turn a blind eye anymore. And we believe that after Iran, we we believe after Iran, Nigeria will be next because Nigeria is actually a part two of Iran. They work together. Iran also sponsor a terrorist in Nigeria. Even the northern part of Nigeria, you agree with me. Based on our information, Hezbollah is supposed to be in Lebanon, correct? But Hezbollah is in the north of Nigeria. They even have their cell, or you call it prison there. So, and Biafra people are so, glad that they have you on board, and we have done a lot. And like my speech a few days ago, I said I have heard a lot have echoed in this ear about why Washington have not been talking about Biafra before now. And we're glad that we are correcting all the mistake with good leadership and steady leadership. And very soon, Biafra will be free. So glad that we have you in our VOB. And as you knew, I don't know, when is the last time you heard CNN or BBC talk about the genocide happening in Nigeria or in Biafra land? Please, when is the last time you recall? Honorable Elias? Honorable Elias, can you hear me? I think we lost we lost him. Nigeria, all the gutter media in Nigeria have not been talking about Christians nor the Nigerian Christians. It's so sad. BBC as well, they are not reporting it, but we are glad that with this platform we have, we'll make sure that
Hello?
okay. Yes, I think we lost connection. Am I coming out now?
Yes, I apologize. I must have been an internet connection issue. I got frozen and I had to log out and re-enter. So I apologize for missing your remarks there.
Okay, yeah, I was actually asking question, right? When is the last time you hear this gutter media from Nigeria, whether it is Arise, Channel News, CNN, because CNN is actually worldwide. So, and BBC. When is the last time you hear from this news media channel talking about the genocide against the Christians in Nigeria or the Christians in Biafra? When is the last time you recall?
Well, I think the seminal moment was when, with the involvement of our extensive lobbying education campaign, along with some of the other pro-Christian groups here in the United States, when President Trump declared Christian genocide in Nigeria, and it became a worldwide issue. And our role in the education campaign of the U.S. government was highlighted in international media. As far as I recall, there's not been that much attention on Nigerian Christian genocide or the Biafra issue previously, at least to this extent. There was some talk about Christian persecution in Nigeria previously, but very little coverage of the Biafra issue, and even not that much coverage of Nigerian Christian genocide issue. I mean, some very committed members of Congress were talking about it, but it wasn't a worldwide international topic that it is today, where now I think every member of Congress wants to talk about Nigerian Christian genocide and persecution. People are now talking about the Biafra issue. So there's never been this type of awareness previously. There's never been this type of discussion previously, at least not that I'm aware of, but certainly not in recent history.
My question is about the media. Like, Arise is in Nigeria, Channel News in Nigeria, Nigeria, BBC, they're in Nigeria. What my question is that, when do you recall, when is the last time you heard this news media channel like Arise, CNN, BBC, and Channel News talking about the genocide against the Christian Biafra or the Christian Nigeria?
Well, these outlets have always tried to avoid the topic, but given the fact that the President of the United States, the senior leadership of the U.S. government, is talking about the issue, taking action about the issue, and you have so many prominent people talking about the issue, these outlets are no longer in a position to ignore the issue or pretend the issue doesn't exist, which they were able to previously. But, if the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, is talking about an issue, you can't simply ignore, pretend the issue doesn't exist. So because of the president's action, because of the international media attention, even your Nigerian news outlets like Arise News and the other media, they're now forced to talk about the issue. Granted, they put their own spin on the issue, but they're forced to discuss it now. Even with Brgie, for example, Arise News and the other Nigerian media channels did entire segments on the lobbying war, for example, between us and the government of Nigeria. So because the issues gained so much prominence, even what we call the Nigerian gutter media is even forced to discuss these issues now because there's no being able to avoid these issues. So it's just, I think it's a different scenario now, and even the Nigerian media is forced to pay attention. And for the first time, they're discussing Brgie and the lobbying war between us and the government of Nigeria. So I think when we have, that's why what we're doing is so important, because if you don't have U.S. government attention, it's just very easy for Nigerian media and the Nigerian government to pretend the issue doesn't exist or to ignore the issue.
Elias, do you know for years now that these media outlets I just mentioned are suppressing the news from, I'll call them terrorist news media because they work with the government of Nigeria. Yes, they are not covering it. They are not, they are actually suppressing it. It's so shameful. You remember what happened during this wonderful, great President Trump inauguration with Arise, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I wanted to bring up that example. So they've suppressed the issue for so many years. When we bumped into, it was a complete accident, when we bumped into the Arise News reporter inauguration, he got completely freaked out. And he tried to pretend that, we didn't exist and he was just losing his mind. Those days are over now because, they've suppressed the issue for so many years, and their policy was pretend the issue doesn't exist, or they would briefly mention the issue from time to time, in a brief way. But this is a completely different situation now. They can't suppress the issue like they used to. And the Nigerian media is in an extremely difficult position now. And that's why they're forced to talk about us now. Because of the international support that we have. And I think that's making the Nigerian media very nervous. But you see, because what we're doing has so much, is so heavyweight, Nigerian media is not able to pretend like they were in the past. So it shows you the progress we've made. They're forced to confront an uncomfortable situation now. They're very uncomfortable now that they have to talk about it.
You're right about it. I'm so glad that we have a wonderful team in Biafra Republic government in exile, especially steady people,
Exactly.
people with a wise, reasonable mind, people that are focused, not people that are so self-centered. I'm glad I have a team like that working with me, and also you yourself. You are so
Yes.
wonderful. Yes, because every time on the phone, all we talk about is about our engagement, about Biafra, about what we have, need to do. Sometime midnight. So
Yeah.
having something like you, we really, really appreciate, and Biafran people, glad that we have somebody like you. And what actually give me joy, how I wish, just like you mentioned earlier, how I wish we can, let Biafran people know everything that that we know. But there's some that are top secret. It's not everything we'll talk on air. But Biafra is here. And for enemy of Biafrans, what do you think what message you think we need to send to them? Because we have a lot of saboteurs, a lot of Biafran enemy, even our voice of Biafra. Some are not happy that we now have a voice of Biafra satellite and the radio. So we still have a lot of work to do to perfect it. But a lot of Biafran's enemy are freaking out because for so long our voice have been suppressed. It will never happen again. And during the genocidal war against the Biafran people, which lasted 3 years from 1967 to 1970, exactly what happened. The media never report how Biafrans have been massacred. They even lied to the international community. That is just, farmers' header clash and all that nonsense. Thank God that we have Biafran Republic government in exile that is taking the message to Washington through, your help, Washington and Madison. Thank you very much, Elias. So what message we have for those that are thinking that Biafra will not come, and for the saboteurs, what do they need to do?
Well, they should be prepared for a lot of pain because we're going to be exploding this next year. So I think both the Nigerian government and the internal saboteurs should be ready for a lot of pain, and they'll start to see us. I think assert certain things in the very near future. So we're slowly going to open up the door more and more, and I think both the Nigerian government and the internal saboteurs they're going to be in for many shocks. So I think they need to, as you said, put on their seatbelts. Otherwise, they're going to fall off the car.
Yes, and for Biafrans that are still, not supporting, what message do you need to, what do you think they need to do so that we can move as fast as we can? So what is your message to Biafrans that are not supporting what we are doing? Or
Yeah.
Biafrans that don't believe what we are doing so far?
Yeah, so what I would suggest is, look, things always take time in any movement, in any revolution. It's understandable. What I would say to Biafrans now is, I think until this point, there's been a lot of chaos and instability in the Biafra movement. I think for the first time with the Biafra Republic government in exile under your leadership, Mr. Prime Minister, we have a right group of people who are solid, who are stable-minded. There's been considerable restructuring of the government, weeding out of bad elements in the Biafra government leadership. And now we have a solid group of professionals in the Biafra government. It's very solid, very stable, the right group of people, professional people, committed people, and we're undertaking things in a very serious way, in a stable way. So what I would suggest is to Biafrans who may have been a little bit disoriented, given the chaotic nature in which previous Biafran organizations were run or things were done in the movement, I would say, no one's forcing you to do anything, but watch carefully what we're doing and use your common sense. when you see that the Biafra Public Government in Exile is the only organization that's getting results, that has a pathway, that's a serious pathway to achieving Biafran independence, I think you should then become involved and become supportive. It's understandable that some Biafrans, given some of the amateurishness and mismanagement of previous Biafran leaders, are maybe somewhat reluctant to get involved. They're watching what's happening. But I think now that the Biafra Public Government in Exile, under your leadership, Prime Minister, has shown incredible stability, incredible effectiveness, no drama, no chaos, which has always plagued previous Biafran leaders and organizations. I think it should encourage Biafrans to feel comfortable enough now to jump on board the winning train. So I think this is a turning point. For the first time, we have a Biafra organization with the right people, that's very stable and that doesn't have any crazy drama or nonsense. And I think that's very important. I think for whatever the reasons, there was a lot of chaos and drama previously, but that's no longer the case. So I think because we're in the situation we are in now, that should encourage Biafrans to feel comfortable to now get involved with supporting the Biafra Public Government in Exile. And there are many ways to get involved. Not everyone has to get involved in a public manner. You can people can support behind the scenes. So I think now Biafrans who should take a new look carefully at what Brgie is doing, and I think Biafrans who have common sense and who are thoughtful can look at what Brgie is doing and make a judgment for themselves. And I think based off of that judgment, they should be inclined to be supportive and to get involved, because I think Brgie is doing all the right things. And I think everything is now laid out in a way that Biafrans can now join in and be supportive. It's understandable that some Biafrans were a little bit confused or reluctant in the past, but now that things are clearing up and everything is laid out with the Brgie structure that we have, I think Biafrans should set aside past conceptions or notions, look at Brgie with a fresh pair of eyes, come to conclusions on Brigie's effectiveness, which they'll see that it's been very effective, and then come on board and be supportive. This is the time. This is the right time for the Biafrans to join, to come on board the winning train and support Brgie.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elias. Thank you, and thank you for all you do. And based on your understanding as somebody who worked closely with United States of American government, of which you also represent in a lot of countries from Africa, is there any other government, Biafran government, that is working hardly, very hard, or working with United States of America government, apart from Brigade, that a government that that probably still that one can look up, even a U.S. government FARA document showing that this group or this government, they are fighting to liberate Biafra people. Is there any other government, based on your own knowledge or understanding, apart from Biafra Republic government in exile?
Yeah, Brgie, the Biafra Public Government in Exile, is the only government in exile, not just only government in exile, but is the only Biafran political entity, you could even say, that has high-level relations with the U.S. government. While there are various Biafran groups that exist, the Biafra Public Government in Exile is the only one that has a close working relationship with the U.S. government at high levels and is trusted by the U.S. government. Therefore, I think it's critical that any other Biafra group or Igbo organization be in touch with the Biafra public government in exile if they're interested in engaging with the U.S. government. They should do so through the Biafra public government in exile. So Brgie is the key organization with relations with the U.S. government, and as such, Brgie will play a critical role in the future of Biafra, and Brgie cannot be in any way circumvented from decision-making on Biafra, because any attempt to go around Brgie in some way means you're trying to also cut out the U.S. government. So Brgie is the only organization that has that's viewed in a serious way by the U.S. government.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elias. And Biafran people, you have heard it from, we call him Mazi Elias. So we Biafrans have given Honorable Elias a title as well, Mazi Elias. And he worked closely with U.S. government. So he knows more than a lot of us, and is somebody who represents not just Biafran people. He also represents other countries from Africa. So this is his field. This is his profession. So he have given the Biafran people, a well meaningful advice. If you're a Biafran and you love freedom for your people, you love freedom for Biafra, come on board. Support Biafra Republic government in exile. This government is government of the people by the people. And the government officials, they are servants of the people. These are men and women that volunteer their time, their effort, their energy to serve the people of Biafra. Please, you are welcome on board. Any group that you are affiliated with, you are welcome to join Biafra Republic government in exile, the government that is working closely with United States of America. And I, as the Prime Minister of Biafra Republic government in exile, I am a living witness. I have had series of meetings with U.S. government officials. So I heard what echo in my ear, and I also heard what we need to do, and their advice, and what is expected of us. We need to unite, we need to focus, we need to organize. We also need to know that United States of America have our back. The question is that, how ready are we? Are we ready for our freedom? And I also want to remind Biafrans what happened in Iran. Why Iranian citizens are protesting on the street, even not minding that the Iranian terrorist regime is killing the citizens of Iran. Iranians are so determined to go out the street, protest, make a loud noise, and it get to the ear of the president of the United States of America, the president of the free world, and he told the Iranian people they should keep protesting, that freedom, their freedom is in their hand, meaning that help is on the way. If the Iranian people have stopped protesting, sending a strong signal to the world about what is happening, if they have stopped to alert the world that they are ready to be free, do you think what is happening in Iran today will be happening? And do you know that very, very soon, the people of Iran will be free? So my fellow citizens of Biafra, we need to make some noise. We need to show how serious we are. And we need to stop this emotional blackmail that the Nigerian terrorist state have used on us. We are so glued with our past. Let's focus on the present. We understand that we have Biafrans that are, have been massacred, and like Mazin Namdekan is kidnapped from Finland, from Kenya, by these terrorists Nigeria. And we also understand that Mazi Simon Ekpa likewise is arrested or because of fighting for the people of Biafra. So we're not going to dwell on past. Let's dwell on present. And the present is what we revive our past. We that are fighting are the ones that will free all the political prisoners, because that's what they are. They are political prisoners because they are locked up because of agitating or fighting for Biafra freedom. So let us all stop this emotional blackmail that the Nigerian terrorist state are using on us and support the current leadership of which I'm the Prime Minister. So Biafra Republic government in exile will do everything humanly possible to release all political prisoners. It's a task. We represent the entire Biafra, so we don't represent some group of Biafra and avoid other group of Biafra. So all Biafrans are citizens of Biafra, so we'll do everything humanly possible to free all political prisoners. So your support, we hasten it. Your support, we speed it up. But when you keep dwelling on the past, we'll go nowhere. So let's dwell on the present and focus on the government that is making it happen. The government that have taken the cause of Biafra to Washington, D.C. Because for over 10, 20 years, Washington, D.C. have not been talking about Biafra like today. Please, your support will go a long way. Thank you very much. And Honorable Elias, let's get your closing remark to Biafran people. I know you already encourage Biafran people. I'm still getting a message that they would like you to speak more, but because of time and other engagement, and we'll be wrapping up. So Honorable Elias will also be at VOB in near future, very soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be here. What I would say to Biafrans is the issue now is not even external support, because we're making huge progress with international support. In fact, I think the challenge is if the Biafrans themselves can move quickly enough and show that they're ready for their independence. So how fast everything moves, in a way, depends on you, the Biafran people. And I think you need to show seriousness. I think you need to show determination. You need to show commitment. When you have, let's say, Biafrans that are, talking about 2027 elections and people in the Southeast voting for these Nigerian politicians and, all this sorts of stuff, that shows lack of seriousness, right? So there needs to be seriousness. There needs to be commitment. There needs to be an understanding that we're dealing with international diplomacy at this point and not noise making and not all this emotionality. So I think the Biafrans have to show greater seriousness and determination. And part of this will, yes, depend on external support, but part of it will also depend on the Biafrans themselves. If you show the necessary level of maturity that's needed for what we're trying to embark on. So thank you, and it's an honor to be with you today.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elias, and I'm still going to be seeing you in a few days. We have other engagement in Washington because it's all we do. So it's all about Biafra, freedom of Biafra, freedom of Christians, whether in Nigeria, Middle Belt, Biafra, is our job, and we have to free them. So the voiceless, we have to make sure that we send the message to the international community to come to our aid, and why we Biafrans also need to focus. It's time that we change the dimension. It's time that we all align with Biafra Republic government in exile. The leadership of which I'm the Prime Minister, so Washington, D.C., U.S. lawmakers in Washington, D.C., they are pleased to have somebody like me and they are pleased to know that I'm steady, and I'm somebody with common sense. I'm not somebody that they cannot count on or rely on. That's what matters. So last week we traveled out of town for a very important gathering, of which we also have some very meaningful meeting. Just a few days ago in Washington, I came across some of the members that we met at the occasion. They remember who I am, and they always say good luck, in what we are doing. So they wish us well because they know we are fighting a just cause. Please, if you're a Biafra, support the current leadership. Ask yourself question: if this leadership of Brgie is delivering, the answer is yes. Of which Honorable Elias pointed out earlier. He also talked about how the Nigerian newspaper have talked about our impact in Washington, D.C. Actually, there's a time they are attacking us, right? They said,
yes, yeah, but now
Nigeria as country of particular concern we are the one behind it. Yes, we play a very vital role. Since 2014.
But you
go ahead.
Yeah, Prime Minister, even the Nigerian government media, if you notice, if you watch Arise TV, unlike previously when they let's say mocked IPOB or mocked different Biafran leaders, now even the Nigerian government media is very careful in the way they talk about you and Brgie. Because they're now reporting on these international news stories about you and Brgie, and they're much more careful now with what they say, and they're a little bit more respectful. So the Nigerian gutter media is very they feel a little bit nervous. I think they feel very nervous.
Yeah, because our message is sinking in, and I also want to appreciate Biafrans that are active in social media. Just like Mike Anoy that we talked about earlier. We remember months ago, if you talk about Biafra or about separation, before, it's all about how things will work Nigeria, one Nigeria, but, based on what he himself observed and what he has seen, he came to a conclusion that Nigeria will not work, that Nigeria will not just work. And that also drew my attention to this group that are calling Save Nigeria group. I laugh, know why I laugh, Elias? I remember Gowon, right? Gowon is from Middle Belt. Yeah, Gowon fought and he killed Biafrans in millions. He tried to save Nigeria. Gowon try hard, very, very hard to save Nigeria. The same Nigeria that he tried to save is the same Nigeria that is killing his people. Even our former leader, Ojukwu, told Gowon,